So one of the bills, the Senate bill, didn't have as much teeth to it as the one in the House. You had Jennifer Decker in the House that really was pushing back hard against any DEI. The one in the Senate was sponsored by Senator Mike Wilson, the majority whip, and his bill did have a cause of action in it. If somebody was being targeted for their political beliefs or religious beliefs, if a university or a program was going to punish a student or a staff because of their conservative views or their religious views, there would have been a cause of action there. I think both bills address different things, but so let's speak about the principles.
Yeah.
What were the points of disagreement?
Yeah. So those two bills are both regarding post-secondary education, which would have little impact on what's going on in K-12. And we can talk about some proposals to deal with the K-12 issue later. So really, Representative Decker's bill was cutting the head off of the snake. It was stopping all funding to any DEI program within our post-secondary institutions, which clearly would have had a huge impact. There were some concerns on First Amendment rights of educators, but my interpretation of the way that legislation was written, that was protected. So I think it really was just a disagreement on interpretation as far as that going too far in regards to what professors could say in their classrooms. The other piece of legislation, it was more broad, but it really almost dealt with issues that have already been taken care of with the Civil Rights Act, with Title IX, with other federal programs that have been implemented for decades. One of the things with that piece of legislation, I think it was highly influenced by the CPE, which the Council on Post-Secondary Education, which kind of sits above and oversees all of our post-secondary institutions. I think there was a little too much influence coming from CPE to water that down so that it would not have a direct impact on the post-secondary schools. And therefore, you had comments coming from some people within the larger universities I heard comments like, well, we dodged a bullet because we watered that down too much. And, you want to take into consideration the operations at our universities. How are they functioning? How are they doing? But we also have to consider you have so much money coming from the state, from taxpayers that are keeping these programs in place. And these programs are ultimately discriminating against kids. They're silencing their free speech. They're not free programs within the state. They are tightening up a government control and a school's control over who a kid can grow up to become. And that's what diversity, equity, inclusion is. And you see, it divides people. It does not bring equitable outcomes. And it is incredibly exclusive, unless you agree.